something else, they have to sell to buy stuff. And by the way, the stuff that they need to buy is getting more and more expensive because of inflation, and the cryptocurrencies that they have to sell are getting less and less Bitcoin Trust. It was trading today and it closed right near a 43% discount to net asset value. That the layoffs that are coming in the blockchain and the crypto space, because I knew that not only would a lot of these companies have to lay off workers to cut their burn with a rising rate environment where people don't want these risk stocks anymore, but I knew that a lot of these crypto companies were going to go bankrupt. And some have and more will, which means all these workers are going to get laid off. And chances are most people working in crypto drank the Kool-Aid. They were in crypto because they believed in crypto. And so they probably have most of their net worth tied up in cryptos. And so what happens when they lose their jobs and they no longer have an income? How are they going to pay the bills? Well, they have to sell the only thing they've got, which is their cryptocurrency. Whether it's Bitcoin or something else, they have to sell to buy stuff. And by the way, the stuff that they need to buy is getting more and more expensive because of inflation, and the cryptocurrencies that they have to sell are getting less and less valuable. So the price of the stuff that they need to buy is going up, but the market value of the cryptocurrency they have to sell to buy it is going down. And so that's making it worse because your inflation rate is much higher if you're pricing stuff in Bitcoin or another currency that is falling as the price of the stuff that you need to buy is rising. And so I was talking about all this extra selling pressure that is going to come from unemployed former blockchain crypto company workers who now have to sell their stack in order to pay. And another indication of the selling that's coming is the discount on the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. It was trading today and it closed right near a 43% discount to net asset value. That is huge. What that means is that the people who are selling their GBTC shares with Bitcoin at 16,700, if you're willing to accept a 43% discount, what you're doing is you're selling your Bitcoin effectively at 9,500 a Bitcoin when the current price of Bitcoin is 16,700. Now, if you're going to sell something that is worth 16,700 and you're willing to accept 9,500, what does that tell you? It tells you that the investors who own the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust are very bearish on Bitcoin. They're so bearish that they're willing to take 9,500 because they obviously believe if they just sit and hold their shares that the price of Bitcoin is going to fall below 9,500. So they might as well get out now and take. Now remember, Barry Siebert keeps talking about how they're going to convert GBTC to an ETF. Now, there's no chance that's going to happen. I think that they want to keep that fantasy alive, but clearly the current holders don't want to wait around. They just want to get out while they can because they know the price is going down. But my point is, if all these institutional buyers are now big sellers and they hate Bitcoin so much, they're willing to take a huge discount just to get out, that shows you that all that adoption isn't going to happen. And we've passed that wave. The institutions that got in want out. In fact, they're embarrassed they got in. They're going to have to explain to their investors why they were dumb enough to get in. All the people that had money with FTX, yeah, they got a lot of explaining to do. But eventually, everybody who has money in Bitcoin too is going to have some explaining to do, because everyone who swallowed this bait is going to look foolish. And of course, as I said earlier, a lot of them are going to get Scale Bitcoin Trust. They were CNBC's biggest advertiser. At one point, you couldn't watch CNBC for more than one segment without seeing a Grayscale Bitcoin Trust commercial. And now that thing is collapsed. I'm not sure if they're still running those commercials. But the other thing CNBC did with Bitcoin is every time they had a guest, didn't matter who he was, what his background was, what company he worked for, every single guest during every interview was asked for an opinion on Bitcoin. So CNBC did everything they could to legitimize Bitcoin and crypto. They had nonstop pumping from their guests, from their advertisers, from their anchors, and now everybody loves a bubble. Everybody loves a mania until after it pops. And then everybody wants to point fingers at other people instead of accepting responsibility for what they did. And that is particularly true when it comes to government, because there's all sorts of new regulation that's going to come out as a result of this. And I think it's going to reach way beyond the crypto industry. I think everybody is going to get caught up with this new regulation that is going to further undermine our individual liberty and run up the costs of all sorts of financial transactions. Ultimately, those costs have to be borne by investors or the American economy, and it's going to only serve to make us less competitive. You've got all these guys now in the crypto industry demanding more regulation. Well, that regulation is going to end up impacting other industries because the crypto industry is pretty much going to go away. So they're not going to be around to deal with these regulations. It's going to be all the legitimate companies